Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? It's your man, Dame DNYDC, host of the Two Mics Up podcast. Hey, we back at it again, man. It's Thursday night. You know how we do on Thursdays. We live. And, man, I'm excited about tonight's episode for real, yo. Um, we have an amazing young shining star that's going to be joining us tonight. And I really hope that you all enjoy tonight's guest just as much as I do. I want to give you all a few minutes because I see some people moving around. If you're in the back watching this show tonight through someone else's live feed, I can't see your comments if you're leaving any comments. So head over to our YouTube channel, Two Mics Up, and come on in and join the conversation. You know how we do. Like I said, we love the energy. We love the audience to go ahead and get involved with tonight's conversation. You know what I'm saying? Sis, what's happening? My sister, co-host, Lisa Middleton. Yo, love you, sis. Thank you for joining us tonight. You know, and still staying up to what's going on here with us with Two Mics Up. So look, I done talked enough. You know, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in this young lady to the stage, to the studio. Clarissa Thibeaux, what's happening? Yo, what's going on?
Hello.
What's happening with you? Yo,
What's up? Hi.
that's we trying to figure out. You know, we trying to figure out what's going on tonight. It's Thursday. So for those who may be tuning in who don't know you or not familiar with you, like, please introduce yourself to us and our audience.
Okay, hello. My name is my name is Clarissa Thibeaux. Um, I was on the amazing show Marvel's Runaways, and I played Zavin, which was a comic book character, shape-shifting alien. Very fun.
Okay.
And then recently, I was in season 2 of Netflix's Gentefied
Mm,
as Bree Solano, a very cool art executive. So
mm.
much cooler than I am in real life. It was so much fun to play her.
Well, look, you know, now that we got a brief introduction, because
Yes.
that was really sensational, as we like to say around here. And what I want to do, though, I want to start out by opening up. We want to get all up in your business. You know,
Okay.
we got some questions that I want to kind of dive and delve in a little bit deeper into, who Clarissa Thibeaux is. All right, so let's
Okay.
start first because I
Yes.
see you on the gram, but I don't think you really from where you at right now. So let's go back. Where are you really from?
I am from a suburb of Sacramento called
Okay,
Roseville,
okay.
which sounds idyllic. We have a mall and trains,
Hmm.
and I left as soon as I could.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
it's fine. It's a fine place. It was a really
Okay.
safe place to grow up and, not
Hmm.
get into trouble or do anything because I was an AP student and a total nerd. But
Okay.
yeah, left once I could because the suburbs, I don't know. I think we're all suburban kids for some reason and we all try to, I don't know, not
Hey,
all of
look.
us leave, but I left.
I'm not mad at you. Like I was a suburban kid. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
helps mold who we are and who we become. And
exactly.
speaking of all of that, though, I hear you talk about suburban life. So what would you say childhood was like for La Carissa coming up?
Oh my gosh. Depends on what point in my childhood you're talking about.
Okay.
Um, this is like technically common knowledge, but I always kind of talk about it. I was orphaned
Oh.
at the age of 12. My father died when I was 11 from cirrhosis of the liver and kidney failure
Oh
from
wow.
alcoholism. And my mother had stage 4 breast cancer before he passed away. So then she passed away. So then I was raised by my aunt and my uncle in Roseville.
Mm.
Um, so childhood was rocky,
Yeah.
traumatic,
Yeah. I mean, that's
but
a lot.
also, I mean, I also really don't have that many bad memories.
Right.
Growing up for me, uh, post orphandom, I don't know what the proper term
Okay.
is,
Yes.
um, was pretty smooth sailing. I got really good grades. I threw myself into school. I was a track and field star. I did,
Okay.
I was really good at the triple jump and long jump and hurdles and stuff like that.
Wow.
Apparently, I like to jump. Um, and yeah, just threw myself into the theater. That
Mm.
was a healing place for me. So I was in a
Right.
lot of school theater and involved in the community theater. Um, yeah, my childhood was, I mean, because it was kind of rough.
Yeah.
There were things that happened, but for the most part, I always had friends. I always had activities. I kind of
Wow.
threw myself into building out the life that I wanted.
Hmm. Look, I mean, first of all, that for many of our youth, that is very traumatic experience to have to go through,
Mm,
and not even experiences, and one to be able to be where you are. Um, it's kudos to you, to the family and support that was really behind you going through that.
hmm.
And if you don't mind me asking, because I think this is something that a lot of us don't talk about, though, is
Yeah.
the mental health and the struggle or struggles that
Yes.
you had to go through. Could you share maybe some of the things that you did, or uh, whether
Yeah.
it be therapy that maybe somebody listening can really take from? Uh,
Absolutely. I mean, you know, as a kid, because they knew my mother was, not doing great, and the
mhm,
chances of her surviving her cancer were not um, great. I did have to meet with quite a few therapists,
mm,
child therapists, art therapists, um, and I don't remember a ton of specifics, except for that I didn't like it. I
right,
didn't like feeling different. I didn't
right,
like feeling like something was wrong with me, or that that what happened to me wasn't normal, even
mhm,
though it didn't happen to any of my other classmates that
right,
year.
right,
Um, but it took me a really long time actually to get into regular therapy. I am in regular therapy right now. I
mhm,
love my therapist. She is dope AF. Um, but it took me a really long time to kind of, how do I say? I was always an advocate for therapy.
okay,
I believed in it,
yep,
but for some reason it scared me
yeah,
because I had so much
yep,
heaviness
yeah, to
that
unpack.
I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to go there. Like I don't know if I want to share this with
Right,
anybody."
right.
And the only thing I can say is I wish I had done it so much sooner.
Mm,
I wish I had
yeah,
just gone in and done it so much sooner, and been able to kind of start to unpack that at an earlier age. Um,
yeah.
though I am yes to therapy.
Yes, yes, all
Um,
day. Yes to
yes
therapy
to
all day
therapy.
long, all day
And
long.
listen, there are so many people who don't get it, who would benefit from it so much.
Yep,
Myself included, and just
yep.
like the leaps and bounds I've been able to make, with a trained professional who's
Yeah.
able to see, like, yes, you have abandonment issues. Yes, you have
Mhm.
attachment issues. Yes, like, and that's normal for what happened in your early childhood.
Right,
And
right.
there's nothing wrong with you.
Not at
This is
all.
you're literally having a human experience.
Right.
And there's so many people, even if you haven't been through something as um you know gargantuan
Gargantuan.
as
Yeah.
being orphaned in
Mm.
childhood, there are still a lot of things that happen in your childhood that form who you are now, that form
Yes.
how you interact with people now.
Yes.
And there
Yes.
are a lot of relationships and things like that you know you you maybe aren't in the relationship as well as you could be, as healthily as you could be.
Right.
Maybe you're seeking out, you have people in your life, they're like, why do I keep on having these toxic ass people in my life?
Right. Right.
Well, maybe for you, for whatever reason, like, that's what you're gravitating towards.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
because you don't know what healthy looks like, you don't know anything other
Very
than
true.
toxicity. So, and the same thing with the people who are toxic. Why are they acting that way? Well, because
Right.
that's what was modeled for them, or that's how they've learned to exist in the world. This is how they've
Right.
been able to survive.
Mm.
Um, and so, in that way,
Mm.
everybody out there, find a therapist. And
Right.
I
Look.
know also, like,
Look.
cost is also a thing.
Yeah. Look.
That Yeah,
It's needed, and that's why I left.
yes,
Lisa. Lisa's point up there, because I think so many of us, and really
mm-hmm,
to even delve deeper in the African American and the Black and Brown community, the
yes,
taboo, breaking the stigma and the taboo
yes,
of, you said so many things in there, like I really don't want to share this with anybody, something's wrong
mm-hmm,
with me, uh and being a Afro Latino, that machismo where look, men don't cry, and boy, it don't hurt, and all of these things that you really carry on. And I love what you said. You carry a lot of these things into your adulthood, and you
Oh yeah.
carry this into relationships and work habits, and the people that you meet. So I'm just glad that you were able to, and willing to share, a few minutes of what you went through and how you went through it, because hopefully, anybody sitting here right now this evening, what's happening, sis, what's happening, Melissa, anybody that's sitting here listening, or that later on will go back and watch this, can
Right.
take away something positive. And that's what we're really about here, positive, education that can impact them to maybe do something like you did. And
Yeah.
maybe not do it too late, for some, but late sometimes is better than never.
Oh, and absolutely, like there's no expiration date on your
Right,
life, right?
right,
Besides the day
right,
you die.
right.
Like, so if you're not lost.
Yes, yes.
And I also just wanted to comment because I have had, um, you know, people in the past say, well, yeah, therapy, great, but like, how can I afford it?
Mm,
And that's a very real thing.
yes,
And I'm not
yes.
going to pretend like it's not. Like,
Yep.
unfortunately, at least in the United States, healthcare is not free. So,
Mm-hmm.
I would just urge people to look for sliding scale
Mm,
programs in your area,
mm.
because that was how I started with therapy. Was I found a place where the max you could pay per session was $60, and it was
Okay.
based on your income. There are
Mm.
people I know who are only paying $20 a session, only going once a month because that's what
Right,
they could afford.
right.
And I would just urge people, like, yes, there are therapists that cost $150 an hour, but there are
Mm-hmm.
also places where they're trying to give access to everyone.
Yes.
And hopefully, I'm hoping that because of, um, honestly, because of the new digital age we're in, that kind of information can get out there faster
Yes.
and easier to more people
Yeah.
who normally would have,
Never had access to it.
never had access.
Yep.
And I also feel like, especially with, you touched on so many, I have so many things to say about therapy. But what you were saying about in the Black community, in the Afro
Mm-hmm.
Latino community,
Mm-hmm.
I challenge people to question whether or not it's about machismo or some other reason to keep people in
Mm.
this toxicity, right?
Mm.
Like, is it really about
Very good
your,
point. Very good point.
about that, or is it
Mm.
about, you know, you are easier to manipulate when you're working from emotions alone?
Mm.
And
Very good point.
like, how do you get an entire group of people to rise above, right?
Mm.
If we're still in a toxic mindset, if we're
Mm.
still, unable to learn from our past and grow with our past,
Mm.
then where are we
Mm.
go? Like, where can we go? we,
Right.
like,
We're
you're
stuck.
stuck.
We're
You're
stuck.
stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So I urge people to really take a look inward and go, why do I think this is going to hurt me more than help?
Mm. Man, you said whew, whew, sister. I mean, you have this really lit it up. And I write, right, Coaster, preach. Clarissa's
Yes.
on fire, man. I love it. I just love the candor and the openness. And like I said, we took a little time out. We took a little turn,
Yes.
but I thought it
Okay.
was important. I thought it
Yes.
was important. Things like that are really important. But we
Absolutely.
back here. We getting back up in your business. We're gonna
Okay.
continue on. Then we gonna change the mood. We're gonna lighten it up a little bit. What's your favorite color?
I saw that question. Right now, I would say I've been leaning towards pink for the first time in my life.
Right
The
now.
first time in my life, I've been like, oh, I kind of like that pink thing. Because I've always been like, I wouldn't say a tomboy, but not a girly girl
Not a
in
girly
that
girl
way.
either.
And so, I don't know, lately, like, I have a pink fur coat
Okay.
that,
Go ahead.
like, 10 years ago,
Go
myself would
ahead.
have been like, ew, never. And myself now, I'm like,
I
I'm
like
living
that.
my life
I
like it's
like that.
golden.
Hey, I'm not mad at you. Not mad at
Yes.
you at all.
And it's
I
faux
love how
fur. Faux fur.
I love how you say that though, because so I have one child, and I thought she was a boy all most of her life.
Yeah.
Um, everything she wore was blue,
Yeah.
and then one day, my wife comes to me and says, you know, your daughter, right? Come through for the pink fur, right?
Yes.
Brooklyn in the building. Yeah, I mean, I know what you talk about, sis. Yeah, rock that Sherlin. I know what you mean. So one day my wife was like, your daughter wants to wear a dress, and my heart got crushed because like
Oh,
like wait a minute, I'm losing in my mind. I'm losing my little baby girl, but my baby girl is becoming a young woman. So I totally
right.
I get the pink and the purple was her thing for a
Yeah.
long time. So
Oh
I
yeah.
love it. I love it. So now talking about things that you like. So then let's talk about a few other.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that Clarissa likes, and some of the things you don't like?
Okay, so I was thinking about this too, and 2021 for me was a year of reading.
Mm.
Lots of reading. I think I read like 40 books
Oh wow,
or something
geez,
like that.
ooh, you putting in work.
Yeah, and um it was, I mean it is. I'm loving that I'm getting to consume so many amazing stories, from historical fiction to just pure fantasy to, autobiographical novels, things like that.
Wow,
And so I think something that I like right now is my voracious reading
that's
and
serious.
the few times I have uninterrupted time to voraciously read.
Wow, that's
Cause yeah.
that that's that's a lot. 40 books. I mean, look, I like to read too, but I don't. But and I spend more time reading about working on the show, working our
Mm-hmm.
guests, and really trying to make sure we are as thorough and try to get as much information about them. So I mean, I'm an avid reader. I was a criminal justice major, so
Oh, cool.
reading has always been a thing for me. So I dig it, but. Ooh, 40 books? Sis, you
Well,
woo.
and the funny thing is I surround myself with bookworms, apparently, because one of my
Mm.
friends, I was like real proud of my 40 books, being like, look at me, I'm an intellectual. And she was like, book 155. And I was like,
Girl,
oh my God,
that's one of those like you gonna be
how?
like, girl, be quiet. Nobody, what nobody's
I know,
talking to
I
you.
was like, oh, right, like, I didn't do anything. Over
Oh
here with
my
my
goodness!
40 books, just like,
Wow,
never mind. Yeah, so,
wow.
but I think it's important for me too as an actor,
Mm,
like reading these books, finding these new characters, finding these new
mm.
perspectives. I
Okay.
really enjoy. I mean, that's what I love about my job is being able to step into people's shoes and completely embody them. Right.
Mm.
So,
I like
like
that.
reading books too, you get an in-depth look at the people, the characters, their thoughts, their feelings, their reactions, their lack of action, whatever.
Right.
And um, and I've just very much so enjoyed it. In fact, right before I got on this call, I'm reading a book right now, and I got to a point where I found out this girl just found out that the girl. Uh, anyway, her boyfriend was cheating on her with the girl she thought he was cheating on her with, and I was like, "This is scandalous." Like
Oh
I
my
was
goodness.
watching an episode of Real Housewives or something. That involved, right? Like that involved my blood's boiling, and I was like, "Okay, I gotta go into this. I gotta go into this podcast, and get in a different place."
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, speaking of all of that, because we're going to get into some of the points that you talked about. Getting into character
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, because you have played a couple of characters
Mm-hmm.
that are pretty interesting. But before we get so Elisa wants to know
Oh,
what's the name of that book?
okay. So I got it in December. It's called Reckless Girls.
Mm-mm,
It's
hold up.
like I don't know if it's technically a murder mystery, but it's like a thriller. Um, and there's just
There's a lot
it's a
going on.
fast read. It's a very fast read. Reckless Girls, yeah. It's a very
Okay.
fast read. Like I'm blazing through it. And I am definitely, I probably will finish the book either later tonight or tomorrow.
Oh man, that
With
must be a good book. Then that's got to be a great book.
because I've read 40 books now, and I've also been able to just like pick up the pace,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And like now I'm at the point in this book where I'm like little less than 3/4 through.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm at that
Yeah.
good
I
that good
I I,
shit.
I see the glimmer in your eyes. So you like, man,
Yes, it's like
when I get off this right here, I'm gonna go get something to eat, and I'm gonna sit down with my book. Right. I see it in your
yeah,
eyes.
yeah. But
Well,
it's a fun read for sure. Like I've been reading it probably a day. Like I read through it so fast it feels like I've been with them this whole time. But anyway, I digress.
okay, no problem. Hey, that's what we are here for. Great question, sis. So Clarissa, then I want to ask, like I said, you talked about some things that we're definitely going to get into tonight.
Hmm.
But if you weren't an actress,
Yes.
well, what would you be?
You know, I think it's why I became an actor, because I want to do like everything,
Okay.
like everything. Like and this has happened to me while I've been an actor too. There's been times where I'm like, maybe I should just go to medical school. I want to be a doctor. Like I just want to be a
Okay.
doctor. Or,
Okay.
oh, you know what? I'm gonna become a lawyer. Like I'm just gonna I'm gonna go to law school. I'm just gonna like, not be an actor to do that. Uh, like just so many. There's been so many things I really love, like astronomy. So I was like, maybe I
Wow.
should just like go work at NASA and like a secretary and just see what I can learn and then like build from there. I don't know. I think there's so many things that fascinate me.
Mm.
And so many paths that fascinate me that honestly your guess is as good as mine. And I think I'm an actor because I was like, I don't want to choose. I want to live all these lives
Hey, hey, look,
and more that I haven't even discovered yet. So being an
I
actor
love
allows
that.
me to be like, okay, I get to live all the lives that are possible. I get all the possibilities.
I love that. That is so awesome. I mean, that's one of the greatest answers to a question that I've ever heard. No, and I mean that seriously, because
Okay.
that's all encompassing. Because there's no limit and no cap for you, and I think that's important that young people even here, even some of us older folks, here, like to have no cap, no limit. You can be anything that you want, and I love that energy and desire just in that answer to say, you know what, I don't know, I might want to be this today, I might want to be that today,
Yeah.
and I think that's great. That's a great attitude to have, and I think that's why like when I look at you and I watched you, like I think you're a shining star. You just have
Oh,
this
thank you.
this shine to you. So I mean, I love that answer. So I want to just kind of move over into another little question then.
Absolutely.
So talking about getting into acting,
Hmm.
what was that thing like? When was it? Like maybe everybody has a thing that might that says, you know what,
Right.
this is it, the bug. When did that happen for you?
Um, I've been asked this question in the past,
Okay.
and I think at least, well, entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I ever wanted to do that I have any memory of wanting to do was be a choreographer.
Mm.
I wanted to be, I'd watch, like when I was 5, I'd
Oh wow.
watch, MTV or whatever, and they'd show recordings of concerts with, Britney Spears or whoever. And I'd be like, Mom, who makes up the dances? Like, who creates the dances
Right.
that they're
Right.
doing on the screen? And she's like, that's called a choreographer. So I go into kindergarten. I'm like, I want to be a choreographer. I'm going to be a choreographer. The rest of the 5-year-olds are like, what the hell is that?
What is that? Right.
What is that? And by the time I was 7, I had only taken like one ballet class and one tap class and a very serious conversation with myself.
Mhm.
Basically telling, my pep talk to my 7-year-old self was, you're old. You should have already done so much more by this
Wow.
point if you wanted to be a professional dancer. You need to get a grip on your, on this stream and move on, find something else, because you're past your prime, kid.
Mm.
You need to move on. Which now I'm like, damn it. Why didn't I just keep taking dance classes? I would have still enjoyed it so much. And as an adult, I've taken dance classes here and there, and I do enjoy it. I'm no good, but I love it. It's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
But that was probably my first like brush with entertainment as a
Wow.
dream.
Wow.
Was being a choreographer. And then it switched to a lot of things. I wanted to be a director, I wanted to be a writer, and then I think when I saw Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella with
Wow.
Brandy and Whitney Houston,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
a huge moment in my life.
I think that was huge
Huge.
for a lot of us. Yeah, I remember
Yes.
that.
Because I remember being like, well, also I'm a quarter Filipino.
Okay.
So it was also like the hot prince is Filipino. The lead girl is black. Like his mom is Whoopi Goldberg, and nobody cares. Like, this is great. And like, just I remember as a kid being like, everything is possible. Like I could be in that. I
True.
want to do that. I want to be part of it. So I think that movie, God bless that
Right. Hey.
entire production,
eh,
because it really, as a kid, like it was like one of the first representations of myself that I ever saw on screen, where I was like,
wow, that's
oh,
dope.
like this could
You
be me. I'm not excluded from this.
Yeah, that's so dope. I mean, I love that because I mean, I was being a little bit older, but I do remember, when that play first hit, and just like you said, the representation
Mm-hmm.
of our rainbow.
Yes.
It was an awesome experience, and I remember my daughter. I think I had to watch that when it came out, or DVD or whatever it was
Yeah.
back then. I think I watched it like 1,000 times. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah.
I watched it recently and I was like, oh, I know every word to every
Yeah,
song.
right. Right.
And I think my mom, because it was on TV first, the
Mm.
movie. And so I remember we had two like bootleg tapes that we had done off the television, and then it was finally in
Yeah,
stores where you could buy it, and then we bought the real one.
I
So I was
love it.
watching bootleg ones with all the commercials until she got me the real one.
So true. And yeah, that's funny. Just taking me back to a good time.
Yes.
Um, so with that, so as you progress, your dancing career, you gave yourself the talk
Yes.
about why you didn't continue, and you continued on through your journey, and it led to, I want to talk about one of your more recent roles
Hmm.
in Marvel's Runaways, and your
Yes.
character. And I don't know how many watching tonight are Marvel fans or into the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, but you played Savin.
Yes.
Very interesting character on
Yes. I love
so many levels, and I like how you say love her. But from where I grew up in the cinematic universe, there wasn't as much, I guess, what we call today diversity and fluidity.
Oh, I said I love them.
Oh, you love them. I'm sorry. I thought you said I'm sorry. So
No, it's
then
okay.
let me backtrack. I want to go ahead and let you then talk about Zavin,
Yes.
your character first, and can you talk about how you got into the role, because there's so much with this
I
character.
know. I
Mhm.
know. Okay, so Zavin will always have this just very anchored part in my heart.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I actually, well, talking about getting the role, it was kind of one of those Hollywood stories.
Okay.
I had I had done, I've been acting, but on a lot of stuff that wasn't as big as Marvel's Runaways.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the audition, and it was on the Paramount lot, and I remember just being really excited to be on the Paramount lot because I hadn't had an audition there. And I had never met the casting director before. And I think I was the last person of the day for that initial audition. And I'd been working on it, and I was like, I want to do a really good job because I want this casting director to call me in again.
Right.
Never in a million years thought I would get the role necessarily. Like, that wasn't really my goal. My goal was like, I've never met this casting director. I want him to like think I did a great job and that he can call me in for something else. That's my
Right.
goal, is for him to call me in for something else.
Right.
And so I go in and I do my audition, and he gave like this sigh of relief and was just like, you just nailed it. And then I was like, thank you, and left. And I was like, haven't really had that happen
Had that happened before?
before. I think he liked me. Like, okay, great. So then I get a call from my manager at the time that it went from that first audition straight to testing for the network.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, which is it was very unusual. Because I just had one initial audition, and then automatically it was me and two other people who were testing for this role.
Right.
I had never tested before. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to shit my pants. But I worked on it, but I was also like, but he liked what I did, so I really shouldn't change much. Like, I should just
Right.
lean into what I was already doing. And how much do I really prepare? I should just, I don't know. They gave me a list of the names of the people who were going to be in the room, and I just threw that away because I was like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know who's going to be there. I want to pretend like none of these people are important. Just pretend,
Right.
because I don't want to scare myself. Like, I want to go in and I want to do a good job, and I want to be proud of myself, and that's all I
Right.
can do.
Right.
So then I was the first person of the day. And so Ginny and Lyrica, who played two of the main characters on Runaways,
Right.
they were in the room. So I was acting with them. There was a director there who I never ended up working with again, but she was really nice. So I'm sad that I never got to work with her again. I believe Josh and Steph were in the room. There's a representative from Marvel, I think a representative from Hulu, and then the two casting directors. In this very small room pre-COVID.
Wow.
And so I did, I did it, and people really liked it. And I was like, okay, cool. I didn't embarrass myself. This is great. And then both Ginny and Lyrica gave me a hug, which was like, oh, that's nice. Then the director gave me a hug.
Oh.
Then both the casting directors gave me hugs and said how proud they were of me.
Okay.
And so then I left and immediately started crying. and at the time, my partner, he was out in the parking garage waiting for me. Because I was like, you have to be there. Like, I can't do this by myself. So he's out there. I run into his arms just weeping, and I was like, I did the best I could. I did everything I could. And then we went and got cookies.
Okay.
And then I found out that was on a Thursday, and I found out that next Monday that I had gotten the role. Wow. And that same day, I found out that morning, and that same afternoon, I had a table read with the entire cast.
Wow.
Met everyone, and yeah, it was. I mean,
everything. History from there.
Yeah, it was just. It's one of those. It's funny because I talked to my, some of my friends who knew me from before Runaways and after Runaways.
Right.
And one of my friends, who's also an actor, he said that all the time people tell him that never happens. That Hollywood stuff never happens. He's like, yes, it does.
It does. Yes, it does.
I know somebody.
Yes, it does.
So yeah, and then playing a character like Zavin, like how lucky it was just so fun to play them.
I have to add, because there's a couple of things, that people may not know about the character, because really in the sense that, it had to be fun, because I'm really dialing into what you're saying. So like, you reading, and now I kind of see you reading and learning and really taking on pieces of what you read, because your character actually is kind of like, I don't want to say an imposter, but has the capability of taking on.
I never thought about it like that.
But taking on looking like others.
Right.
So what was that like? Like, how did you even get into the mindset on a day-to-day?
Yeah, the great thing about being a shapeshifter on television is that you get a lot of credit for not doing a ton. In that, like, I really have to give it up to my castmates, because they had to imitate me. They had to pretend to be me.
Right.
That's what it is. So, lots of conversations with people, also with Hulks in the industry being like, so how do you do this? What are you doing here? And I'm like, so explaining my acting process to them and what I'm doing, and probably sounding like a moron sometimes, but honestly, I didn't care. And yeah, just kind of setting up whatever I was doing to be easily copied by my castmates, so that they could then come in the same, stance or
you kind of throwing them lobs, or like softball lobs or whatever, just being
like, this is where I am, and I'm just observe me real quick. Now you do it.
That's crazy. And the other thing too that's interesting, like I said, I mentioned earlier, so because today, we're very the world has opened up so much more. And because your character though too is very gender fluid, because like you just said, you're shape shifting not only as a woman, but also as a man. So how was that even play? For you sometimes to have to mimic, I guess, one of your castmates that's a man,
Right.
In the scene. How was that for you?
Well, so um when I got the role, right, I didn't have a ton of time. It was pretty quick that I was on
Mhm,
set. I
mhm,
found out I got the role on a Monday and I was shooting my first scene on Wednesday. So I didn't have, and also with Marvel, everything is so hush hush,
uh-huh,
lots of NDAs, and my
uh,
character was a surprise for the show.
oh, wow.
So I had no idea who this character was. Unfortunately, I hadn't read Runaways prior to receiving the role.
Mhm,
So in between, like as this is all unfolding, I'm like, I need to get to a comic book store like now, and just like find every bit of source material I can on this character and
mhm,
learn more about Zavin and how like this alien
mhm,
shapeshifter.
mhm.
I kind of started to understand that like gender is so human,
Very good point.
is so human,
Wow.
and for this character, it's just not a thing. It's
Thing.
non-existent. It doesn't matter.
Mm.
It
Wow.
doesn't matter.
Wow.
So for Zavin, I think an appropriate way to address them in the human world is they them.
Mm.
But really, the alien species that Zavin comes from, there
Yeah,
is no,
there's
there is
nothing.
nothing there like that.
Yeah.
So in that way, I was like, okay, um, you know, they are not one or the other. They are both at the same time,
Right. Mm.
and then that's just what it is, and that is okay.
Yeah, it just exists. Do
It exists.
it exists? And that's a very good way to say it. I love that. Never would have thought of that.
Yeah, I just kind of thought of it as like, oh, we're just limited.
Well, and
Like,
no, you like you said, in the human mind or the way we think, it's very limited. We always like to put people in boxes. It seems,
yes,
where, like you said, as an alien species, it's limitless.
and an
Uh,
advanced alien
yes,
species as
yes,
well, because that's not to be glossed over either. Like
yeah,
Zavin is incredibly intelligent,
right,
also sometimes a little clueless,
y-
but incredibly intelligent, and coming from a place with so much more than what we have so far
right.
here in the world. So in that way, it's like it's just beyond our comprehension.
Mm, I love it. Well,
Yeah.
look, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. If you're just joining us, don't go away. We'll be right back to continue this great conversation with Clarissa Thibeaux tonight. I'm loving it. But I do want to go ahead and step away and take a pause for the cause. I want to shout out our sponsors, here that continue to help support Two Mics Up. JMI Income Tax, Riddick Entertainment, TD3 Insurance, and Bubbles and Brews Philly. So I'm going to go ahead and run this promo, and we'll be right back after the break. Hey, what's happening, everybody? And we're back out the break. Your man, Dame DNYDC, and our amazing shining star tonight, Clarissa Thibeaux. Thank you so much, sis, for sitting here and really having some fun with us. So we talked about, your earlier role, with Marvel's
Mm-hmm.
Runaways. Now I want to get into Gentefied or
Yes.
Hentified or, depending on where you're coming from on the side of the table.
Right.
Um, but that's a very dynamic show. Um,
Yes.
and can you really talk to us, for some who may or may not, some of us may not have seen it, but can you kind of give us a little background on the dynamics of that show and kind of what's evolving or what's happening in the show and your character?
Right. First I want to say, go watch it. It's really good. What are you doing? It's on Netflix. Come on, you got a password. Just go watch it. My goodness. I mean, it's funny because when I first, well, let me answer your question.
Okay.
So the show centers around this family and their taco shop, Mama Fina's, and kind of this patriarch, the grandfather, and then all of his grandchildren who were cousins, and the realities of gentrification in Boyle Heights in California today, which is, there are a lot of negatives and also positives from gentrification, which makes it so complicated. So they're fighting to keep this institution of the taco shop that they've had forever in the family, while also dealing with, financial opportunities that are coming with the gentrification, and whether or not you'll be labeled as a sellout or if you're just taking what's rightfully yours. And so my character, Bree Solano, in season 2, I'm an art executive who's kind of climbed the ranks in an all white space.
Right.
And said, okay, I'm going to rewrite this if I can. I'm going to put Black and brown and queer artists in the spotlight if I can. I'm going to champion them. But I am a suit.
Yeah.
still definitely a suit. So Anna, Carrie Martin's character in the show, is a very talented street artist who I start courting to come work for me and my company, so that I can get her connected to different ad campaigns and really get her art out into the world and not just on the side of a building.
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but of course,
level up
a bit. She deals with a lot of that, what I was talking about earlier, is like, am I now being a sellout because I'm going to, do an ad campaign for, this big corporation, or like, but also like, why shouldn't I get paid? Exactly. Why shouldn't I be able to eat? Why shouldn't my art be seen in galleries too? Like, why should I exclude myself from that? And so that's kind of where my character lives, in that a bit of that tension of trying to be like, this is worth the little bit of sacrifice.
That's right.
To be able to say, like, I belong here in the upper echelon, that this isn't just a white space, that this is an art space. And that we shouldn't get the two confused. But also, Bree Solano is courting Anna in a romantic way as well. And that starts to complicate things.
It gets a little messy. Get a little messy in there.
They always say, well, I think I've been cussing, but
you can say whatever the hell you want here. It's Thursday night. Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
Okay. You shouldn't shit where you eat.
Right? Exactly. No, you're right.
And that's kind of what's happening. It works sometimes. Right? It does work sometimes.
Yep.
But it does have the possibility of ruining a lot of things. Right? You messing with your money, your career, and your love life. It's all mixed up in the same thing. One drops, it all drops. Yep. And so my character is kind of like the person who's really fighting for Anna to take what I think is hers. Right. And also make me money.
Of course. Well, I really like the dynamics of the show because, this is real.
Yes, it lives in the gray area. Yes. This show does a really great job. Yes. The showrunners are absolutely amazing. Yeah. And everyone involved, it was such a fun set to be a part of because everyone is just so, they want to see their stories brought to the screen, brought
Yeah.
to life. Representation is such a huge part of both the shows I've been on.
Yeah.
Representation is such a huge part, but specifically like the Latinx experience through gentrification that's been happening in Los Angeles is very specific, but also universal.
Yes.
So the show, when you watch it, it's like, I was watching it, right? And I am not Latina, but I was like, oh, yeah, like this happened to my Black family in San Francisco, right? Like my dad's side is all Creole, and they had migrated from Louisiana to come to San Francisco. And now if you look in San Francisco, you'd be hard pressed to find any of the old stuff that I grew up with. So I'm like, right, I remember this kind of like, oh, I'm glad that, you know, this street is safe to walk on now, but also like now I'm seeing all these people who have never been here and just want us to disappear. So it's like an erasure, you know?
It's so true.
The show does a really great job of like, you know, yeah, it's convenient to have a Starbucks on the corner. Right. But also like, I don't want that Starbucks to be on the corner if it means that I have to leave because I no longer fit in my own community.
Wow, man. That you're touching on so many things. And like I said, with the show, I think it does a great, it gives you a different lens, but the story really is all the same for so many of us. And I like how you say, you know how your experience is, because I think so many of us have. But I really would like to know too, because I think in this, I hear growth, one maybe from you, but also I'd be curious to know, what, if any, impact has it had on your views of race in America? Like, has it changed your views or molded more of your views now that you become an adult and you're experiencing these things, you're seeing these things, you're in a position to really speak more about these things? Like, how has it impacted your view of race?
Honestly, I think all it did was just reinforce what I already believe.
Wow. Okay.
I have been very vocal about how I feel about race relations in America and towards, and not just the Black community either, you know, like we are seeing, we have seen, especially in 2020 or 2021, honestly, time
it all runs together, but I know what you're talking
about. It all
about.
runs together. Right. I just consider from now until, you know, the end of time is just 2020. But, you know, we're seeing Stop Asian Hate, like people getting run down, like old grandmothers being kicked in the face, and I'm like, what? Why? Like it shouldn't be happening to anybody because you look different. Like these kind of race relations in America, I think we have a lot of ideals that we've always wanted to live up to, but we're still working to figure out how to live up to them.
Yeah.
So,
well said.
In that way, like, especially with, you know, in the show, they talk about undocumented immigrants, and the idea that is demonized so heavily, so in this country, and especially in states that border Mexico, not the ones that border Canada, but the ones that border Mexico.
Good point.
Is like. Right, but don't we realize how this country started?
And look at its core,
and how everyone has gotten here, besides the Native Americans, who you've also like
tell them,
except for the Native Americans who apparently aren't American either, and you put them on reservations and they're left there to fend for themselves, paying you know $500 for freaking twink.
Tell it, Clarissa.
Like it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like the show didn't wake me up to anything I didn't already know. If anything, it just gave me more to scream
about. Hey, look, that's really, I'm with you, and that's really why I wanted to ask that question, because it really, it's like gas for the fire, you know, and it's just it's things that you already know that you really want to or would like to think that, you know, our country has grown and moved forward, and just over the last several years, we've just found ourselves deeper and deeper into that dark hole, and we've spiraled out of control. And I really don't know.
I do want to say, I think we are better now than we have ever been.
Really?
But I think that prior to now, a lot of the injustices that were happening, the injustices we see on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, on the news, were happening before. We had like the Band-Aid of the 90s was covering a festering wound.
True.
And we just took it off. But the wound was always there. It had never actually been cleaned out. So I think right now we're seeing this, like, I would say global, but really this national cleansing of, okay, who are we really as a country? Are we going to just pretend that we are who we say we are? Or are we going to try to be who we say we are?
You know, I like that because I think that's a good place to leave it off at, because it's really about, are we or who do we want to be?
Yes.
And I think that's a very good point. I think to leave it off at, because I think, we can sit here and we can talk politics and we can talk, our terrible, because we have our history as a nation. Hasn't been that great if we really dig into some of the atrocities that
we've done some bad things,
right?
And I say very loosely,
right. But I think either we're at a point of either we are or we're going to work on who we are to be, and I think that's a very good point that you left that off it, and I'm going to leave it there as well. So I want to change lanes because now we're coming around. We're coming around to the back half, the back nine of the show. And I want to go ahead and have a little fun. We're going to do a little fun with a little, excuse me, a little segment that we're going to do. We're going to call it This or That.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw some things out.
Okay.
And we're going to ask you, first of all, which would you prefer? All right, this or that. So, is it white bread or wheat bread?
Wheat.
Wheat. Okay. Then let's go with pancakes or waffles.
Waffles.
Oh, see, I'm a pancake guy, but okay, no problem. Coke or Pepsi? No, and that sounds like neither one for you.
I don't really drink. I don't really drink soda. Like, I stopped drinking soda when I was 16. Okay. So honestly, I'm like, aren't they the same thing? I know they're not, but
no. I'll be honest with you. Somebody will probably argue with me. Pepsi is too sweet. Pepsi is way too sweet for me. Coke has the right kick. So, I would have to go with Coke. Excuse me.
More power to you.
Yeah, definitely. So, I took this from one of your posts. I saw you post about berets earlier in the week. So, hats or berets? I thought that was the cutest post too. I thought that was hilarious.
I just got that beret. My head is huge. I have a big head, so hats never fit me correctly.
Okay.
And I found a beret that finally fit my gigantic head, and I was so happy that I had to post about it. But then I quickly realized I had no idea when you're supposed to wear a beret. Right. Like what weather, time, event, a christening. Like, I don't really know when you're supposed to wear it. But I would say beret.
Okay. Yeah, I had to throw that one up in there because when I saw the post, I was like, oh, that's a great one. Exactly. Because look, I don't know. We have to. Not to be stereotypical, I had to find a French person. I don't know. Maybe they.
Yeah.
I don't know which one to go with. All right. So last one in This or That: 44 or 45.
44.
No, of course, yeah. I think we all know who we rocking with on that one. So we're gonna transition to we're gonna talk a little pop culture. And okay. We'll have a little fun with a little pop culture.
I hope I know who you're talking. I'm really bad with pop culture.
Okay, and I try to throw some softballs in there.
No, do it because honestly, I want to know if I'm bad or if I'm okay.
Okay. So this person has been in the news quite a bit. So what's Britney Spears' biggest hit song of her career?
Oh, like real or the one that I think is the biggest one?
Okay, well, whichever. Hey, let's go with what you think is the biggest one.
Toxic.
No, that wasn't.
I know, Baby Hit Me One More Time.
There you go. Yeah.
But come on, it's Toxic. It's the best one.
That wasn't it for you. All right, I got it. So we're gonna go ahead. Before finding her fame, Kim K once worked as an assistant for which famous socialite? Right.
O.J. Simpson. I don't know. I know.
No, it wasn't the juice.
I don't. I have no. I don't follow the Kardashians really.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I thought I was throwing a law ball out there. Okay, so we'll go with and I told her Baby One More Time too, but that's Paris Hilton. And we
Yes.
we didn't change the slide deck on that one, but yeah, y'all know who that is. That girl right there. All
Yes.
right, so we'll go with another then. Let's try this one. What movie has the best-selling soundtrack of all time?
I
Yeah,
guess
okay.
I'm bad at this.
Okay.
Uh, you know, it's kind of funny. I'm like, Harry Potter, wrong. I know that's wrong. I know that's definitely wrong. And then my next thing was like Inception. And I'm like, that's probably
No,
wrong
no,
too.
that's not
Because
it
those
either.
are just like ambient sounds. Um
And Coastal's over here talking about these questions look hard. Actually, when I say the answer, you're gonna be like, really?
okay,
No.
so I'm trying to think of movies that had like music that played on the
Yeah,
radio, you
you got
know?
it. You hit it on the head.
So,
Something
but
that you
also
heard
I'm
on the
like,
radio.
have I seen that movie?
More than likely, at some point you might have. If you're into music, you might have. Yeah, that's one of those. We'll go ahead and then we'll go ahead
I,
and move.
White Flag.
Okay, white flag. Okay, we're gonna go with the bodyguard here. Kevin Costner.
What?
Yeah, Whitney Houston. 411.
I have never seen that
You
movie.
never seen that movie? Hey,
No,
400.
I haven't.
That soundtrack sold $411 million. They're all time. Yep.
Okay, I need to watch that movie and also listen to the soundtrack.
Hey, look, now you're gonna pay attention to it, right?
Yeah.
So we'll throw another one out here before we transition. What rapper turned actor now stars on Law and Order Special Victims Unit?
Oh, I can see his face. Oh my god. Cool J. No, no, what's his name? Oh my god, I can see his face. I can see his lips and his eyes and stuff. Good Lord, Clarissa. I told you.
Okay, yeah, you struggle with that one, so we'll go ahead.
Yes, Ice-T.
Ice-T, yes, Ice-T.
I could not remember his. I was not going to remember his name either.
Yeah.
But I saw that man's
Cool J.
face.
I like to say Cool J. Close enough, rapper. Cool J. That guy. I like it.
But also, Cool J is like on another show, so I was
Yeah.
like,
Well,
that's wrong. But I also,
NCIS or whatever it is.
yeah, he's on another procedural show. But yes, Ice-T. You know, I literally could see him in that leather jacket, like standing outside of a crime scene with his little tiny shades on, and I was like, what is that man's name?
That's him.
Okay.
So as we go ahead, we'll go one more and we'll do let's have a little entertainment fun. We'll go ahead and go down this rabbit hole. I think you got these. Which record label was the home of the Supremes and the Jackson 5? Oh, I see your face. You're like, huh?
I don't know.
Okay, so this one might be a little bit before your time. We're gonna go Motown with Barry Gordy. We're gonna go Barry Gordy.
I mean, I saw recently. I just saw the "Ain't Too Proud" musical, and they totally talked about this. And I guess it just didn't stick in my head. They totally were talking about Motown.
Hey, well, see now you connected dots.
Yeah.
You probably never forget this ever again. Probably more than likely.
And I am a certain kind of dove.
I love it. So we're gonna go to this question. What is the lead character of Black Lightning's name on the show? I know a lot of people might.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Black Lightning? What? I love the commercial. Black Lightning is back.
This is the thing. Like I said, I read 40 books. That meant I watched nothing.
Nothing. You were totally unplugged. Okay.
Like I watched trailers of stuff. I watched stuff that my friends are in.
But not
but I have not seen it. I even auditioned for it.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so. But
okay. No, hey, look, no problem. The character's name is Jefferson Pierce, but the actor's name is our brother Cress Williams. Yes. Yeah, great actor. So I'm gonna give you this softball lob for the last question on the way out. I hope I get it. This one, Clarissa, I know you got this one. You got this one. What shape shifting alien race led by Talos plagues the Marvel Universe?
The um
I know you got this. You got this. Come on, sis. You got this. I'm going to take that as a no.
I'm literally blanking on the name. I can see one of the letters, but I'm literally blanking on the name, and I think I've
Think,
sufficiently embarrassed myself.
think.
I'll take this
I,
as my.
I'll give you a hint. Think Zabin. Think
I
Zabin.
know. Well, because it's funny because they changed the race, the
Oh, they
alien
did?
race,
Really?
for from the comic book. Um, because okay, yes, because they changed the race because they say I'm Zartan in the show, but I know that the original alien race is a different name
Yeah.
that I remember researching. That was also part of the wasn't that part of um Brie Larson's movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know
Yep.
exactly who they are.
Okay, we got to throw it out
Can't
there.
remember their name.
Skrulls.
Scrolls.
Yes.
Yes,
There
because
we
I
go.
was supposed to be a scroll, but I think because that movie hadn't come out yet, they couldn't technically use the name because that alien race
Uh,
hadn't
it
been
was the
released yet.
precursor. It hadn't been released yet.
It
Yeah.
hadn't been released yet. So then they changed my alien race from the comic books to
Ah.
Zartan. So I was like, I know it's not Zartan.
I totally missed that one even in the show. So see, learn
Yeah,
something new here
this is like a
today.
subtle change because I think Marvel movie have
Yeah.
precedent over the Marvel TV
All of
shows.
the Marvel TV, Sony, everybody involved,
Yeah,
ABC, 1, 2, 3.
if
So
it had come out before the show had come out, I think I would
yeah,
have been able to stay scroll like in the comic books.
gotcha. Well, I love it. It was fun. Really, I mean, we've blown by an hour. It was so much fun.
Okay,
I lost all track of time, but it's been a blast and been my honor and a pleasure to have you here. Sit with me tonight and sit with our audience. You are amazing. You're fun. I love your energy.
thanks.
So before we go, please, leave your social media information where we can find you. Hey, even before I get to what do you have coming up next? Let's start there before we do anything else. What we
Um, what I have coming up next? Well, I filmed a movie in the summer, and I think that's going to be coming out this year. But I
Okay.
don't know how much I can say about it yet.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and then I mean, right now I'm in the thick of. Thanks. I'm in the thick of pilot season,
Okay.
so lots of auditions for lots of new stuff that's coming to a television near you. So we'll see. I mean, it's pilot season's always a lot of fun, a lot of unknown.
I love it. Well, we look forward to following you and supporting you. Like I
Thank
said, I'm gonna
you.
leave that there. You got a new fan in Costa Rican. Love it. So before you go, then
Yes.
where can we, as your new fans and followers, where can we, get all your latest content, your social media? Is there a web page or anything that you can share before we go?
Yeah. So on Instagram, I'm at Clarissa.
Simple.
And on Twitter, I'm at Clarissa T. So at Clarissa with the first letter of my last name. But I'm not really on Twitter. On short circuited a little bit.
I love it.
I'm not really on Twitter that much because it makes me angry.
Okay.
So, but I'm there sometimes.
Okay.
And then, I mean, I have my website, but there's not much you can do there besides see a picture of me.
But no stalkers, no creepos. But
I mean, I've got plenty of those, but
yeah, we don't want there.
leave them in those DMs I never
Yeah.
see.
Okay. Got you. Well, I thank you, Clarissa, so much. Like I said, looking forward to watching you and continuing following you. And hey, I want to share with you, like all of our other guests. Two mics up is home for you. So
Thank
please,
you.
anytime you have anything going on that you maybe like to share, if you want to come back and sit down and talk with me about it and talk with us about it, you always have a home here. Look forward to seeing more from you, and we're here to support all
Thank
your future endeavors.
you. I
Yes,
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
yes, thank you so much. And that's it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for more from Two Mics Up. We'll be back here next week, Thursday. I'll be sitting down with a brother called Prince Nana. He has written a book, step by step guide on how to start your business. For those of you young entrepreneurs out there, I think you really want to tune in. I'm really excited to have him come on. We have some other upcoming episodes and some twist and some future celebrity guests in the pipeline and in the work. So stay tuned. You can follow us online, our social media, IG, Facebook, and Twitter at Two Mics Up, or you can go to our website www.twomicsup.com. You can get all the latest episodes there if you like to stream or audio, or you can come right here to our YouTube channel. Go ahead and make sure if you haven't done it already, subscribe. Hit that bell to the right so you can be notified by all the newest content coming, from us here at Two Mics Up. And like we always do at this time, ladies and gentlemen, you stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out. Good night, Clarissa.
Thank you.